Perfect.
What it do? It's the third episode of No Major Opinions. We got our boy RWhiteGoose of GoldenEye Elite fame. We're here for a nice little fireside chat.
It's looking lovely. I love the fire. Thanks for having me, guys. And yeah, nice, making all your acquaintance. And I look forward to talking about some. I love that intro, by the way. It was really remarkable.
It's gonna get better as time goes on.
That was Dark and Lurk. So before we get into the main topic, which will be the cheating in speedrunning, let's just go for a recap what everyone's been doing. I've basically just been still playing Civ 5 and shit. That's what I've been doing. Laz, what you up to?
Not really much. I've been looking for new speed games to work on. I've been messing with Wii games in particular, like a couple shovelware games that might have a lot of potential for glitch hunting, but as of right now, like nothing super serious. So
yeah, Wii, DS, and Game Boy Advance have a lot of shovelware. There's bound to be a bunch of games that are like surprisingly good.
You see, that's the thing. There's a lot of Wii games and just shovelware titles that have yet to be explored. It's like a treasure trove. There's a gem in there somewhere. Just people don't want to do it because it's motion control. It's the same with Kinect games and VR games. It's waiting to be plundered. Like Easy World Records, easy, just waiting to happen.
We need to get Dugong a Wii and just like every game for it, and he'll just crank them out.
Yeah, the potential's there.
Dark, what you been up to?
I've been up to running the Mystery Puzzle Challenge, which gets streamed onto this channel basically every day. There's always at least one match happening. Actually, there was a match before this. So, beyond that, I mean, I'm going to be doing some modding shit. Otherwise, yeah, that tournament's basically sucked up all of my free time.
Cool. And Goose, how's you been recently?
I've been pretty well, grinding out the GoldenEye as usual, trying to get. I lost my one remaining untied gold record about a week ago, so I'm trying to get another one to restore some sort of masculine strength in my life here. And I'm coming close, which is good. And I also just dropped a video today about something we might chat about in a little bit about Lee SDA's revelation that he faked some of his Yoshi's Islands runs. That's on my YouTube channel now, RWhiteGoose, and people seem to be liking it. So yeah, give that a check out.
Okay, let's see. Next thing, recap of each guest. All right, I'm gonna follow this spreadsheet nice and good. Guest interview. So Goose, I guess first, before we get to like the main topic, let's just go back to history of like how long you've been with the Elite and GoldenEye, because you're like an old school player compared to like a lot of modern speedrunners.
Yeah, and it kind of makes me laugh because I mean, just everywhere on the internet, but in speedrunning as well, people refer to something that happened like 6 months ago as like ancient history. It always makes me chuckle. Or like 2 weeks ago, hey, remember when this thing happened like a week and a half ago? And it's like, bro, like I joined the Elite in 2005, but I knew about it from well before 2005, probably since around 2000 or 2001. I was checking the site, the rankings, that kind of stuff. But I was 12, I didn't know how to use a computer, right? 2001, you have dial-up internet. You have to share one PC across all your family. Anyways, 2005, I joined and started speedrunning. And yeah, I've been speedrunning there pretty much since. A couple of years off here and there. And then 2012 with Twitch and whatnot, we've kind of expanded to the wider realm. But I've been around longer. There's a lot of kids who say weird stuff about speedrunning, of like how we shouldn't need capture cards or whatever. And these kids are literally younger than my speedrunning career. I've been speedrunning since before they were born, so it's pretty intense.
Yeah, I could say a lot about that topic.
We have a clip of it on the channel about your thoughts.
Yeah, if you're poor, you really shouldn't speedrun, and I still stand by that. If you're not making a decent income, you cannot afford to go into a hobby that requires financial aid or backup, you really should.
Like, if you can't afford a capture card, you got bigger things to worry about.
Yeah, if you gotta pay those bills, get the food on the table, then maybe play some video games later on. More
because it's like you don't need to get like a, what is it, Hog or what's like the high end black media? What's like This,
Well, there's
you can
quite a
still
few
make
high
it a
end.
lot.
But
But
the
you
thing
can
is
spend like
that
$1,000 on a capture card.
that argument also goes right down the drain because the capture cards that we use, the DataPath Vision RGBs, there's some guy on eBay just loading them on, and these are $800 USD new for the E1S, and this guy's selling the older E1 model for like $79.99 USD or best offer. So you can probably pick one up for like 76 USD. These are like the best capture cards you can get. Like they are high end. You really can't get anything better. So
anything below triple digits is very acceptable.
Yeah, like like I said, this is an $800 new capture card, and you can get it for under $100 on eBay. So you really have no
even
excuse.
If you're like, if you just want a capture card, you don't need to get like the nicest shit. Because even like the Dazzle, which is like, or an Easy Cap, which are like the bottom of the barrel, cheap as they get. Like you can still, if it's like an old composite game, it's like you can see the gameplay. It's like it's going to be at least good enough quality. It's like because it's like with video quality and all that. It's not about like refereeing. It's just a matter of proof. It's like, here's the run, I did it, and it doesn't need to be like pixel fucking perfect precision, which very few people will get when streaming. It just needs to be good enough so you're like, all right, it looks like what it's supposed to.
All right, listen to this story. I don't know if you guys have heard this story. It happened a couple months ago on stream. But this guy, and I won't say his name because actually he reported the stream to Twitch, and I actually got like a partner warning about it. It was pretty intense. But this guy messages me on Twitter, and he's like basically crying at me. It was right around the same time that Super Mario 64 decided to ban webcam recordings for certain quality of runs. And he messages me, and he's like, Goose, like, you really should rethink your thing. I have a friend who lives in like a 3-meter squared shack, and he's so poor.
Jesus.
And he can't afford it, and like speedrunning is the only thing that like keeps him going. And he's he was like a Need for Speed speedrunner or something like that. He's like, he can only do webcam recording, like. And I started prodding him, and I asked him like, where does this guy live? Like, what does he do? And he wouldn't tell me anything. And I straight up offered to buy him a capture card. I'm like, dude, I'll send your buddy a capture card. How's that? He's like, oh no, like my friend like doesn't really want this to be a big deal. He kind of doesn't really like. So it's like clearly the guy's making up the story, and so it isn't about the $20. I think it's generally I genuinely think there's a contingent out there who want to like destroy speedrunning or keep it as degenerate of a hobby as possible, and that's all they want.
Poor fags.
Oh, I think it's just like a hurdle, and they don't want any hurdles. Like the very concept of a hurdle to like a hobby, a passion is like a bad idea to them, which I can kind of get. Because it's like I'm cheap as shit. Like this headset is taped together and held with like soldering iron. So it's like I understand being a cheap ass. Like I get it.
Yeah,
but it's
I'm
like
cheap,
if you're gonna go in this hobby, you do need to you're gonna need to buy a console.
Here's the thing. I am also cheap as fuck. Like if anybody knows, most of NASA Tech is me trying to find a bargain. Like none of that stuff is full price. But there was a guy who was doing puzzle speedruns, and I think he was just using like some really old desktop or some laptop that, isn't the greatest, and, his family can't afford anything better. He was like, oh, I can't record my runs, and I know you guys like need proof. So literally like 10 of us were going over every single option, and lo and behold, after like 2-3 days of helping him out, he now can record runs. They don't have any audio, but he can record them. So now he actually has VODs of his runs, and it's like, well, if you can do that, you literally have no excuse. You just need to find the time to figure out a solution.
10 years ago, like maybe when capture cards were kind of not as accessible, it's like would be a better argument. But with like technology improving, it's like it's not hard.
Well,
even if it's like even if it's like people were just like, I can just do offline runs. I find speedrunning fun. I don't really care about being on a leaderboard. And it's like, all right, go for it. But it's like if you want to, if you want people to be like, see like, yeah, or like, are you full of shit? Is this just a Todd Rogers just claiming a time and when no one knows? It's like you need a video of it.
No, it's true. And I mean, I can speak 10 or 15 years ago about how hard it was to get captured runs. I remember this one guy in the elite, Greg Larkin. Somehow, I guess American Best Buys have more stock than the ones in Canada, who have like nothing that's worthwhile. But he got like a PCI capture card from Best Buy and came and had the Geek Squad install this thing into his PC. And now he's one of like 5 guys in the community who has a capture card. And so what happened was everyone else would like record their stuff on VHS tapes. You'd like record a 2-hour session, you'd get the run you wanted, and then you would like make a master tape, and you'd send the master tape off to someone with a capture card. And they would then produce all these runs and upload them, not on YouTube. We'd have like private servers to that stuff. So it's like it clearly wasn't easy. You had to do all this extra work to get your runs out there and capture quality. But we would find a way back then, you know? I mean, what about like the kids who are too poor? They just record on VHS. That's pretty cheap, right? And they just mail off a VHS tape for $10 to someone with a capture card. Problem solved.
Yeah.
That sounds like a better version of Twin Galaxies.
Yeah.
I think that's like Twin Galaxies kind of did that.
They used to.
All
All
like
your runs
before,
had
like,
to be
even
on a
SDA was the
VHS.
thing. Because yeah, like 10 years ago, SDA, it's like it actually like was meaningful. There's a reason to go to the site. Nowadays, people just go to it twice a year as a forum for GDQs.
Well,
They don't even do that anymore.
Really?
The strange things with the VHS tapes and Twin Galaxies, obviously, is I'm sure you've all seen the Apollo Legend expose video recently. But it's like, you know, Todd claims he sent 175 tapes or something to this now convicted referee.
No one's seen any of them.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's like, did these tapes ever exist? And what was on them, right? I think these are questions that are fair to ask. Only 25 of them made it out of police custody.
I was reading like someone on the Twin Galaxies posted a link to like I think it was Atari Age in 2002 had a thread on barnstorming where he had a time that was like it would take at least like 50 hours or some shit to get this score. And then Todd posted like, yeah, I got tapes of all of it. The referee can verify that. And the ref said, yeah, it's real. And then like after like they proved that this like mathematically wasn't possible, the ref was like 6 months later was like, yeah, I didn't see shit. It's just like we backed up our friend because there's it's like a lot of things with the cheaters is it's really clicky where people like support them into this like prestigious sort of status where they can just make up a time and then people are like, all right, you did it. I take your word for it. And
there was a lot of that going on. And there was actually, okay, I know you guys don't check our speedrun certainly, but my pal Carl Jobs posted today. He made actually a really interesting Google document. It's a master list of all the questionable Todd Rogers times. It's about 100 or more of them.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So a lot of them were like, he verified a time for somebody and it was verified back for him, that kind of stuff. Now there was another one where the record, it is estimated, the record Fathom, it would take 325 hours. Which is
like a month and a half, and 2/3.
Well, yeah, it's something like 12 or 14 days, which is either.
What's funny though is that game, it doesn't loop forever. It ends after you beat every stage, and that's like a couple, like an hour if you're taking it really slow. So nothing about it makes sense.
Not only that, but 12 or 14 hours either approaches or passes the verified record for staying awake. So it's not only does Todd claim the Fathom record, he also, by product, claims the record for longest time stayed awake.
Yeah, because it's like there are games where you can like put yourself in a safe spot, go to sleep, wake up, and then keep playing. That is I'm pretty sure that's banned by Twin Galaxies rules because they have all these dumb rule sets.
Well, that also got banned on SRL because I remember when.
Saboom.
Trying that out.
Forbidden Memories. Yeah. that was good shit. 100%. But yeah, that's the main topic. Anyway, to the elite referencing specifically, for those people who only frequent our speedrun, they don't know that if you really want to get some like quality shit posting done, you go to the elite forums because that's where it's like actually funny shit posting happens.
Oh my god! I was actually reading an old post last night on stream. And it was something about, it was a thread about who's the best of the top 3, and it was posted in 2013. So this is even like this is not even in the golden era of shit posting on the elite. And so who's the best of Mark Rutsu, David Clemens, or Perfect Ace? And I posted this quote from St. Francis Assisi talking about how he who plays with his hands is a laborer, he who plays with his or works with his hands and his head is a craftsman, his hands, head, and heart is an artist. And I compared some runners to being the laborers, and I said they're like the janitors and garbage men of speedrunning. And it just takes off from there. The thread is unbelievable. A lot of people who join the community today read back 10 years of posts because it's that wonderful. I mean, it's all saved, unlike a 4chan or a Reddit where it's hard to find. It's all saved there for you to be read. It's a marvel. It's got to go in a library someday.
Actually, reminds me, like the funniest thing I can think of from SDA. I don't know if I have a link for it. Was yours truly, who in verifying games they would publish the verifiers' comments, and yours truly was this dude who would just leave like novel length bullshit, just making up like the dumbest shit, talking about, and like every game it would be like there in all caps, like there's severe cheating at this point in the run because it's like he's in a cave with lava and the heat, like this character shouldn't be living, so it's like cheating, but not on part of the player, but in the game, and just like just constant bullshit, and like some of the stuff is like downright offensive, throwing like words where if you say it on Twitch and the staff is watching, you will get the channel taken down, and that to me that was the funniest shit on SDA. That was back in like 2000. I think the last yours truly thing was like 2012.
The SDA threads I remember, there's two of them. One is where I think Grav, our pal Grav, posts a thread called "The Point of Absurdity," and it just shows like Mike Uema not being logged in for 2.5 years or something, and the thread just immediately gets locked. And the other one is, God damn it, where Spider Waffle.
Oh yeah, I thought you...
Okay, well, you can address both of them in a second. There are ones where Spider Waffle like reveals his autism, has like seriously, he reveals that he's autistic. Okay, so you know that
it's
one.
Like a personal revelation. He goes on like he's had an epiphany.
Yes, no. If you guys have that thread anywhere or you can find it, definitely link it. I want to bookmark it for maybe future use in a video or something need be.
Actually, wait, I have a bookmark of a yours truly thing. I'll post that in chat just so you can see. I have a bookmark of, let's see, I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
That's going to
8?
be some good reading later.
Oh, deleted link. Anyway, yeah, I thought you were going to mention the, I think it was like a Brahma Bob, something, crap, he was at NASA 2016, but the thread where GDQ's like LLC was bought.
Oh, that was person. Like Abdullah.
That's my favorite GD. And like every post was people just like, I'm just gonna get my post in before this shit gets locked. This is a legendary thread. That was like, it was only like 10 minutes, but that shit was fucking hilarious.
That was just, I don't even know how you allow that to even happen.
Because like everything about AGDQ 2016 from like the administrative standpoint to me was just fucking hilarious to watch. Like I remember, what was it? The Kirby Kirby? No, it was like
Kirby Swordsman.
The guy who plays the Kirby 64, and he's like the world record holder. He submitted
Kirby.
Swordsman
Kirby, that's his name.
Yeah. He submitted 100%, and it got like rejected. And then like a more popular Twitch streamer with like a time 5 minutes slower submitted, and then it's like they were accepted, and they retroactively changed his to accept. And it's like I didn't even need to talk shit about it. Like I always just like talking dumb shit about GDQs. Like other people were shitting on him for it, and I was like, this is nice.
I didn't even realize that happened. So that's just.
Oh yeah, that's why it's like I'm sad that they changed the review process to being like they release it all at once, because it honestly is what they should do. But it was really fun to see them like changed. Like see their decision making and change based on like, oh, a more popular streamer changed something. That was good shit. And I mean that's still like that was 2016. I mean there's fucking people who would be like, yeah, that's anything before 2017 you're like old school. I mean like Laz, you started speedrunning 2012?
It was like late 2012.
Yeah, and there's like, compared to like a lot of speedrunners, it's like you'd be like old as shit.
I mean, to some degree. I'm not as old.
I
as
mean, in terms of like
like,
how long you've been like playing on your actual age. Because I know there's the
yeah.
one guy who runs Doom, Blooper. He's been playing speedrunning Doom since it came out, so that's like 30 years, and he still runs it, and he's fucking good at it.
Oh yeah, he's amazing.
I think you'd say like late 2012 is the start of what I call the Twitch era and the GDQ era, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
Like I mean, now it's over 5 years. So that is, if you've been around since then, that's like you're an original Twitch era guy. That's like a good duration of time. And then before then is just getting to ancient territory now, I guess.
Yeah, like
is it past
when Uyama showed up on when Uyama showed up at GDQ and people were like, "Who is this guy?" It's like those are the new boys.
Yeah, a lot of new
our
boys.
boy Uyama.
Yeah, a lot of new boys showed up at GDQ 2013 and 2014. You had a lot of people established at that point, but I agree with Goose. That was the time where Twitch was rocketing off, and that's where personalities were starting to show. And speedrunning was still a very niche hobby. I mean, it still technically is if we're talking about real speedrunning, not this mainstream fabrication of it. I mean, the real deal. But in 2013, that's where personalities were becoming established. That's where the lines are being crossed, and that's where
like if you had a Ustream account, you were old as shit.
Yeah, I mean that's
or Justin TV.
Oh man, holy shit, that's old as fuck. I remember
people that used Flash Media Live Encoder before XSplit was even a thing.
I remember when I was on Own TV before Twitch, to be honest. Whew, good times.
That was still back in the day where you had to pay attention to like the League of Legends schedule, because if they had a tournament on, you ain't watching anybody.
Yeah, you're not.
The way their servers work, that was good shit. Well, shit. What are we talking about here? Goose. You know anything about Oceanside?
Oh, juicy. Gotta know.
The thing is, I probably know about as much, maybe probably a little bit more than you guys, but I know a good deal about Oceanside. Something that like not a lot of people know about Oceanside is that like a lot. I mean, well, how long do you want to go back? I guess when I kind of returned to streaming in January 2017 after about a year or two off, and right away I was like, okay, what's some hot drama I can get into right off the bat? And so Apollo had messaged me when I was away just about vids and like thoughts on speedrunning, because we kind of think similarly. And so I was streaming, I just kind of summoned him like this. If anyone knows where he is, he's been away for a few months, summon him. I want to talk to him and have him make vids again. And so I kind of revived him from the depths wherever he was. And then he really took off. He had an insane 2017. And so partway through, he got the idea to make a speedrunning event. And so we did have, it was him, me, and one other gentleman planning it. And this guy, I'm not going to name him, but he's a guy who runs all sorts of Smash events, we'll say. So he knows what he's doing. He gave us a lot of good advice on how to get things started. And he kind of had the idea to like fundraise for it, right? And so when Apollo launched the event and had this massive $20,000 goal to host Oceanside, obviously people were a little bit dismayed at that, we'll say, which is reasonable. But like we didn't really want to go that route per se. But we kind of, we were listening to this guy. He knew what he was talking about, and it just wasn't, we'll say, implemented well. Anyways, this guy had to leave because he got other gigs and whatnot that were taking up his time. So just really Apollo and me kind of advising him on it for most of it, and eventually Apollo just like, what, screw it, I'm just gonna make insane YouTube videos and get tens of thousands of dollars, and that's what he did. I mean, and that's how it's gonna be funded. It's true. Now, I know a lot of people right now are, some people are kind of saying they're not going to attend, they're kind of dropping out. Whether that's fully official or not, we'll see, because they don't want to be caught up in Apollo's reputation, which is something unto itself. I think it's kind of hilarious how people really dislike the guy. But hey, to each their own. And it's going to happen, though. It's the venue's booked, it's funded, it's going to happen. It's going to be unbelievable. I think it's going to be the best speedrun stream ever. On the same plane as NASA, maybe better, guys. I hate to say it's going to be unbelievable.
That's a high bar.
That is a pretty high bar.
You're getting my
pretty incredible.
Because I want this to be good. I mean, more the merrier.
Exactly right, and I think it's going to be really, really amazing. Now, people are saying, oh, he's got to be better at organizing it, better at getting the word out there. And I agree. Well, we're going to start trying to push it hard here in the next coming months, but it's going to be a good time.
Yeah, and I mean, we definitely wanted Oceanside to do well as well, because we actually were going to do tech for it up until the point where our schedules kind of collided and we can't show up anymore for when it's happening. But we were actually, I was ready to go down there and do tech for that.
Yeah, no,
like Lurk and those crazy guys.
Yeah, no, I remember when Apollo was talking about getting you guys to come do tech, and like people think he's just kind of half-assing it. He's really working hard behind the scenes to try to get the good people to come and help out with the event and work on the event. And I have faith, man, because anything he does doesn't flop. You know, he does good work.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, people are always like, if our speedrun is anything to go by, which it shouldn't be, but if it is, everybody's like, oh man, there has to be like more speedrunning events, and people don't realize that there's already so many that happen. So if anybody can make one, it's just it has to be decent enough, and this looks like it could be different enough to actually get some viewership
honestly, it doesn't
into it.
Even need to be decent. You just need people to show up. That's it.
Like, exactly, right? And with this kind of sort of format, with having well-established guys show up who already have fan bases and whatnot, hopefully that brings a lot of eyes to it, and hopefully it's something that can be built on from there, right? But it is true, right? People say, oh, we need more spearing events. Oh, but NASA? Oh, it's a bunch of old SRG shitters. Oh, Oceanside? Who wants to associate with Apollo, right?
So it's like, we talked about it during like the last episode of like Marathon Culture. A lot of people, like, there's a huge amount of people who it's like, well, shit on GDQs. It's like, I want the smaller GD, like a small speedrun marathon with only like a few hundred people, but I refuse to acknowledge or attend any of the small speedrun events that regularly happen. There's like, I don't know. I guess that's just our speedrun morons, which is why I never go to the site, and I don't really care about those people because they're stupid. And I'm not saying stupid people are inherently bad. It's just I don't like our speedrun. Okay.
No, in the case of our speedrun, it's a bad thing. It's a really bad thing.
No, it is really bad. I have to say though, I don't know if you guys remember 2 years ago, AltFX, he got hacked and all sorts of chaos broke loose. The other moderators took over in a mutiny. Somehow AltFX contacted the administrators of Reddit to get his account back, and there was this huge post blowing up about how he needed to be ousted and all this stuff he messed up. And the crazy thing is, and I'm convinced of this, and I know my pal Glover in chat is convinced of this too, is we had posts that were against AltFX that were like plus 80, plus 100 upvotes, and within a span of 10 or 15 minutes, they all fell to like minus 200, minus 300. So I'm convinced AltFX used mass botting or shilling. It was the same time Hillary Clinton had a huge project of shilling on Reddit. I'm convinced he used botting to get the public opinion on his side. Now he stayed on as moderator, but ever since then the quality has improved, I would say, a decent amount. So it's not quite as terrible as it once was. And
well, that's just saying it's like it's a dried up dog turd. I mean, that's I still don't give a shit.
Our speedrun is your place to go when you want that juicy GDQ drama, essentially. Well, you're gonna find it there first.
Well, there's better places for that than our speedrun.
I just ask the people who have been there, like talk to them. But if you're not like a speedrunner or don't like know anyone, then I guess our speedrun would be the best. But
the reason I don't discount it at all is because it's a pretty sizable subreddit. It has 80,000 plus subscribers, and so if you want your stuff to get exposure and get seen, that's a very, very good place to have it put. The problem is it's very manipulable one way or another. So sometimes you can post something, it'll just get shit on. Other times you post it, it'll blow up and get tons of exposure. So it's something it's kind of like.
Not only do I dislike our speedrun, I just kind of like dislike the concept of Reddit in of itself and how they moderate shit. I don't like it.
No, definitely, because the thing with Reddit is it's not about posting good quality or correct stuff. It's about posting what you think the popular opinion is going to be. So it takes the hive mind and it just even expands that even further. Like if you say anything off the trodden path, you're going to get completely blasted. I made a thread
like
2 weeks ago. You see that there I said, what about having sponsors? We wear a hat or a T-shirt, and they pay for our flights to GDQ. How about that? I thought it was a completely reasonable idea. And like all these people, like, Goose, it's the dumbest thing you've ever said. You effing idiot. You
fucking
retard.
Trihex was sponsored years ago.
And so that's the thing, right? There are streamers who go and who are sponsored, and then when I confront them with these facts, they just lose their minds. It's
I think just our speedrun is way too GDQ heavy. Like, even looking at the front page right now, because since I try to keep up the NASA social media in conjunction with work, I unfortunately have to read the cesspool that is our speedrun. But one of the top upvoted things is the fact that there's some new event that's called ripping off the GDQ name, and it has a crap ton of upvotes, literally because their name is ripping off GDQ. And it's like, why?
No, that's
what was it? Because I remember like when you linked it, and I was like, man, that's a shit name.
It's an absolutely garbage name. Actually, I think I still have it somewhere. Where
it's
is
called
this?
like average games done by normal people or something.
God,
like
that
that.
sounds so awful.
It's called normal games done at an adequate pace, and it's like, why?
That's not even like, ironically funny. That's just bad.
I guess maybe it's like
a joke.
Maybe that's just good marketing because they know how to like they know how to manipulate our speedrun. Because it's like, I guarantee you, I never will go to that event, even if it's got all the cool people, just because the name is so
Yeah, but you know what's going to happen with this event? It's brand new. The people running it probably have no experience with it all. So people are going to tune in. There's going to be a crap ton of delays. The stream quality itself is probably going to be subpar at best, because I haven't heard of any of the larger names in stream tech to actually know anything about it. Nobody's asked or mentioned anything about it. So whoever's doing it, probably the best they know is using a Dazzle or anything of that alternative. So it's just going to be like a mess.
I wish them well, but the name is fucking garbage.
Yeah, it'll be a train wreck, but I think it's going
to be I thought NASA was
wreck.
a dumb name because it was just an ESA ripoff, and it's like, no.
I mean, that's a separate discussion entirely. The amount of times that we have to post that we mean North American Speedrunner Assembly, and then people are like, yeah, because if you play also with ESA, and people are like, how is ESA a space agency? European Space Agency.
It is.
That's a thing?
It
oh,
is.
Yeah. It's the next biggest space agency in the world.
People are just confounded in their bubble and don't realize what happens around them.
Yeah, I remember just to get like more stats so people would be aware of like how there's speedrunners near you. I made the lists of like speedrunners per capita. I still have the spreadsheet here. This is obviously outdated as fuck. I'll post it in the. It's a deleted link. But I just took the speedrun.com count of every country and then how the country's population on Wikipedia, and Finland has the most runners per capita, probably just because there's nothing fucking to do in Finland.
That's pretty good data, yeah.
But now they've recently like improved the stats for that on the site, so you can probably get a better number. But I know there's like a lot more regional stuff is like what I expected to be more of a thing, and it kind of is. Like there's the Canadian Speedrunners Discord. It has people listed by like province, and I imagine like the US might have something like that for each state, just because there's a lot more people there. I mean, that's what I like to see, more regional get-togethers. It's cool shit.
Okay. Well, we want to just wrap up any closing things because we got to transition to the next.
Yeah, the program we're using, we get 40-minute intervals to do the video, and then we have to just reset. We have 2 minutes. So anyone want to throw
any
in
closing statements on
shit posts?
Anyone like any comments on r/speedrun or
fuck our speedrun.
You know what?
Yeah,
our Sam and Toki. It's worse than our Sam and Toki.
It could be. Now, one interesting factoid we'll leave on here is that about a year, maybe 2 years ago, actually, around this whole AltFX disaster, I got like a record in GoldenEye Surface 1 License to Kill mode, and I told my guys, we're gonna post on our speedrun, we're gonna trigger these kids, and so we did. And the funny thing is, people in my chat who upvoted the thread got banned globally from Reddit for a few days for brigading the subreddit. That's not a joke. I have screenshots to prove it. People don't believe that it's possible you can get banned for upvoting a thread, but you can, and it was something to see.
Yeah, whenever like if a streamer, like someone puts a video somewhere and they recommend people upvote it, there's like some Reddit mods will be like, no, that's against the spirit of Reddit, because you're a Reddit mod, you're obviously a dumbass. God, I hate Reddit so much.
It's pretty bad, but the thing is, it exists and it has a huge platform, and sometimes you have to try to use it to your advantage.
All right, let's come back on that after the intermission.
Yep. Oh no, this is like a sweater too.
Oh,
like,
nice.
It's like one of these old people sweaters.
You
know?
Oh, sick! Yeah, no, that you're looking sharp.
Yeah.
Man. You're looking good.
Is that just like thick cotton?
I'm not entirely sure, but basically an uncle that's not an uncle, but I call an uncle because back as a kid I would call him an uncle. He had like a bunch of sweaters and clothes like these, and he's like, "Hey, do you want them?" And me and my brothers were like, "Yeah, sure, we'll take free clothes."
That's very similar to how I got a lot of I think this one even, or a lot of them I got in a very similar fashion. Yeah, so a good way to get lots of sharp-looking clothing for sure.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're live, so
okay. So I just want to tell one.
Lay it on me.
So I just want to give one example. First, we'll say about our speedrun. And anyways, then we'll leave it in the past. Maybe we'll do another episode in the future about it. But so in the thread I posted saying that, what about runners getting sponsors to travel at GDQ? This person, I don't know them. Okay, I don't know who it is. This person named Amy R. Lynn. Maybe you guys know this individual. They say, as someone who's run at GDQ, fuck no. I don't want another thing to have to remember while I think about my commentary. It's already stressful enough just doing the run. So this person literally decides, hey, I'm going to throw away $1,000, $2,000 so I don't have to remember one more thing. They get plus 27 upvotes. I respond saying just that, like, okay, you do you, man. I get minus 6 upvotes. And then he goes, yep, because I like donating my time to charity. If you don't, that's okay too. Plus 18 upvotes. Oh, you told Goose, have some upvotes. Okay, then I prod it. I say, hey, how many charities, local or other, do you donate your time to? Do you volunteer at any local homeless shelters, animal shelters, etc.? Or is GDQ the only charity you volunteer your time towards? I think it's very true. A lot of people pretend they love charity, but they just actually love GDQ. They don't actually volunteer at home, where they would be much easier for them to do. Anyways, that question got minus 15 downvotes. Oh, fuck you, Goose, for daring to ask and daring to ask him to prove himself. And then this guy goes, I have no interest in getting into a charity dick measuring contest with you. 32 upvotes. Clearly, like, he has no evidence of any charitable anything beyond GDQ, but just, blowing off Goose gets 32 upvotes, and that embodies the Reddit mentality of just like, let's thumbs up the, and it's really a terrible place to discuss things for sure.
I think that actually kind of mentality is the same thing that like people who have cheated runs. They're like Click like backs them up, and anyone who like questions them, they're like shot down. They're like, you shouldn't be doing this. Don't stray from the path. It's the same kind of thing. It's like that mindset is really, really bad.
Yeah, having a hug box.
No one should be above questioning.
Well, I mean, it's because Reddit is fundamentally broken, because the way that upvotes and downvotes are supposed to work is you downvote anything that isn't actually adding to the conversation itself. Not that you disagree with it, but that it has no relevance in the conversation. But of course, everybody uses it as the I don't like what you just said button instead of this has no relevance to the conversation. And that's why we end up with the hug box that we have today.
Okay, and I'm just going to say this as the one last thing on this topic. I tweeted out a tweet of a kind of a compilation of these terrible answers I had to that thread, and I had downvoted them all. And some people in the response to the tweet said, oh, Goose, downvoting stuff that you don't agree with, way to be a good member of Reddit. It's like, well, wait, they downvoted all my shit for the exact same reason, and yet they're getting upvoted. Like, where's the consistency on this shit? Anyways, it's just, what can you do? That's the nature of the beast.
So yeah, let's go to the main topic, I guess. Cheating and speedrunning. Why do people do it? How do they keep getting away with it? Recently, it's been Lee where He's one of the people who would like stream very few runs, and then the few runs he did stream, they were really good. And what's interesting about him, if you weren't aware, he had like a webcam at him with his controller, and he would fake inputs while playing along. And someone actually just like after it was from a pastebin recently of Crystal, the Link to the Past player, admitting they cheated in 2DX. There was a comment on someone with on them and Carl of like, yeah, like Lee likely faked Yoshi's Island runs. So they looked at the MT Yoshi's Island runner. I think it's just MT, or there's that MT in like extra numbers. MT. And he went through the videos to like compare like what he's seeing on screen to like the inputs he's doing, and it's like, yeah, it's like obvious as shit that it's like does not match. So it's like it's weird. It's like something like a controller cam. It could be done. It's like, oh, like if someone wants to learn the game, they could like see how I'm doing it, but also be as a way of like legitimize the run, where it's like you can see me playing it, but it also means like if you are cheating, it makes it so much easier to catch. But no one bothered doing it for like years on end of a run that's like plays the game for the first time and streams the game for the first time in months, and just amazing run, world record in a marathon, everything goes fucking amazing, like because it's
so I was going to say
actually question.
No, that's exactly it. So I just put out a video about this topic, and I cover exactly these points. Something I've heard in response is that a lot of people said in Discords and whatnot are like, hey, I was one of those people who saw the run live. I thought it was the best thing ever. I was like, oh my god, he actually got the world record. I can't believe how naive I was back then. And this is just people who were new to speedrunning and who just haven't seen this kind of stuff happen, I guess, in the past. And that's why they're willing to give the benefit of the doubt to anybody. They think, oh, why would anyone cheat? Therefore, this run must be real. And another thing is with the hand cam is like, yes, obviously, if everyone was required to use a hand cam, it would reduce or make a lot more difficult to cheat. But that's kind of asking a lot, I think, for now at least,
Or in regards to like, I guess, yeah, with someone brought up a fake audition for a marathon, but it's the Easter Speedsters where the Deus Ex runner, he didn't actually play the game. He just streamed, he just put the tasks, played that for his like submission video, and then during the marathon he just played the tasks while talking shit. And the Deus Ex runner is like instantly knew, and this guy was like, he wasn't even like trying to hide it. He was just it was just like because the marathon was a whole joke. He was just being shit.
And it's like, funny
because people don't like actually like verifying stuff and checking if it's true. Like I don't think anyone really does that very much. Because I'm like, whenever I verify a run on speedrun.com, I basically just look at the start, end, just make sure it's like, yep, you did it, and like rubber stamp. And I'm guessing most people probably do that because like actually checking to see like if shit's cheated, it is work. You do need to like put an effort to figure that shit out. And I don't think people really do that.
It's true, and we are kind of lucky in the elite because we have. For one, because we have single level stages, right? So it's very easy to look at a 1 minute stage and see if something's up. And not only that, but because we've had a history of cheating in the past, which is luckily now well in the past, everyone is skeptical. So anytime someone posts a new record, the first thought isn't like, well, the first thought is, oh my god, it's amazing, generally speaking. But people always, no matter who it is, look carefully at the run to see if there's anything up. And that always happens now. And like you have to keep that little bit of suspicion going if you want to really just get rid of all this cheating in your community. And I don't envy people in communities with games of 2 hours or more to do that in every run, because that's so just time consuming.
Yeah. Because not only is it like is it work to do, but also it's like if the people in the community, that's like they're your friends, you don't want to like some people might see that as like, oh, I'm like I'm not so much like not trusting my friends, but I'm like accusing them of something. But I think it's like like you can still be a good person who cheated a run. Like Lee's not a bad dude. He cheated. We're not saying we should send hit squads out for him and his family. We're just saying, yeah, remove his times from the leaderboard. That's it. You don't need to.
Exactly right. And like, look, I definitely understand. like I say, like people know, and I've always been open with it because I think that's the best way to deal with it going forward. But I spliced some runs back in 2007, and that's always going to be with me, and it's something that is always going to be, like a weak spot or something people can bring up. But if you continue to try to do what you do well and try to be a healthy leader of the community, it is hard to overcome it. But you can overcome having made mistakes in the past, and I don't think it's necessarily fair to judge a man on his worst moments. We'll say, if someone cheats once or whatever, it's something obviously to keep in mind, but it's not something that like you should be like, oh, this person cheated once, they're forever irredeemable. There is a difference between that, so people like a Lee or myself or all these other instances, and there are many, and someone like a Todd Rogers or a Henry Blom, who literally kept the fakes going and the lies going for literally years or decades in the case of Todd. And like kind of like Lance Armstrong, right? It's like there are athletes who got caught doping and they were suspended or whatever, they were penalized and they've been forgiven and they can compete again. Like Maria Sharapova is a good example. She was suspended for 15 months after she failed a test. She came back and now people like her and they understand. Lance Armstrong, though, threw everyone under the bus, lied about it for years and years and years, and now he's irredeemable and unforgivable, right? So there are ways to go about it and ways to deal with in the past.
Yeah, like if you do make a mistake, I just like own up to it, because it's like, I guess because like I don't have experience with it, but it was like if I ever fucked up a run, I would just, I guess it just doesn't work. Like I was thinking EXO before Lee. EXO was the big one where it's like, oh, I know I've been to ESC a bunch of times. A lot, like I don't know if I met him at one, but I met people who was like are friends with him, and they're like, I'm friends with this guy. I don't want to think he's like a criminal or anything, but it's like if you don't cheating in a speed run, or even just like putting a run that's like segmented that you did like in one row spiritually, if you take his word for it, it was like a bunch of segments like put together. It's not an RTA. It's still like that's still like cheating, but that doesn't mean he's like a scumbag or he's like deserves to like burn in hell or anything. It just means remove his time from the leaderboard. Doesn't mean you need to like, I don't know, like find him and kill him or anything. Just move him time from the leaderboard. That's all. I don't know why people like they think like if someone cheats, it's like, how dare you accuse them of this like heinous crime? Because it's like it's not a big deal, really. It's like yeah, like they cheated. Like there's deceit there, but it's
no, exactly. And it is at the end of the day, it is just a game. And in every sport around the world, people cheat or they break the rules, and they're dealt with accordingly. And sometimes accordingly is a small suspension or a fine, and sometimes it's a permanent lifetime ban. In the case of GoldenEye, for example, like, okay, people know about some of my splices back in 2007. People know of Jimbo, another well-known leader, who he just game sharked a run with zero accuracy on enemies and passed it off as legit for a couple of years. But like, and the thing is, me and Jimbo were the guys who commentated the GoldenEye race at AGQ 2015. So we went on to be forgiven and make up for it and be valuable members of the community. Now, contradict this with, say, Henning Blom, and David Clemens is another top guy. Clemens flew to Sweden to meet a bunch of GoldenEye players who were obviously living in Sweden, and Henning was one of them. And this is just after Henning posted one of his fake frigate records. And Henning was like to David, like, oh my God, like David's like, oh my God, nice job on frigate 1 minute. And Henning's like, oh my God, I can't believe the hostages escaped. I'm so excited. And like kept up the lie in front of Clemens, who just traveled transatlantic to see him, in front of his face. And like that's a different level of fucked up. And like that requires a different sort of treatment,
Yeah, and I guess it's like even if someone who's cheated, they can still like contribute to the community or the speed run if they actually like give a shit. It's just, I guess people kind of associate like the cheating like that with someone who's like a genuine asshole. But that's not essentially like your best bud in speedrunning might have cheated a run. That doesn't mean you need to cut all ties and then denounce him and downvote all his comments on Reddit or I don't know, whatever dumb fuck people do. Yeah, I'm just saying,
exactly.
Remove times from the leaderboard, and it's like if they regain their credibility, because it doesn't. That's like I don't think if someone's cheated that they like lose credibility forever. They just need to regain it, and it's going to be hard to regain it, but it can be done.
Well, and exactly. And so continue on the same example. On my fakes, the end screen was just like a blatant like fucking Photoshop, right? Like anyone who watched the run knew something was up right away. Jimbo's fake, it was obvious because he didn't get fucking hit on a very difficult level. So everyone's like, okay, it's obviously fake. But in a case like Lee's runs, it's impossible to determine whether or not they're fake. So if you look at my runs today or Jimbo's runs today, you can tell they're legit. You know, you can see that what happened in the past to fake the run isn't still happening today. But with Lee's, you know, file playbacks, that's impossible to determine. And so it makes it a lot more difficult to see if he's still using the same faking methods.
I guess that's another thing. It's like as technology gets better, it's going to be harder to detect cheating unless we also just make improvements to how we detect it tech-wise, like make just like programs that will load up like what is it, the spectrograph, where it like checks the audio, like as it pulse, like during like the 60 hertz for video. There's also like audio pulses, and if there's like breaks in that, it's like a splice. It can detect shit like that sort of deal, and you could just probably make a program that like just checks for shit like that, and you might be able to get like a speedrun.com thing where it just automatically goes through. That'd be kind of cool because it's work.
But, no, that absolutely would be very useful. I've always said from years ago, like if we can make films like Avatar and Star Wars, you can fake any speedrun to a point where no one can detect it. You know, imagine having a world-class video editor faking a 1-minute speedrun.
Yeah.
It'd be no problem. It'd be indetectable.
Streets 110.
Like, yeah, exactly. Now, another thing with the spectrographs is, and here's a thought: what if someone, like, say, we know our pal WQ is in chat here, and he's kind of had this crusade against the Link to the Past fakers. What if they ganged up against him and faked what if they ganged further and took his Link to the Past runs and faked in spliced spectrogram analysis and like,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
False positives for cheating, yeah.
Exactly. And then 20 of them are all on it and they're like, oh, WQ caught faking runs, and like post all these images on Twitter of these splices. How do you defend against that, right? And that's a scary thought.
See, I think that has to go into basically everything is perception, right? And it also kind of boils back to when you guys were talking about how people can be redeemable, because no matter what the situation, it depends on how you tackle them. Like, for example, the recent Logan Paul fiasco, his first quote unquote like apology was absolute trash, and it basically did not help him at all. His second apology that he had to make was, if that was his first one, he probably would have been a lot more redeemable as a character if that was his starting apology, for example, right? So even with cheating, it's all about the perception of how you do things, right? And the media uses this all the time to spin their own stories. So if you have a situation where doing this would make it believable because it goes with their character and everything like that, you can totally probably get away with that. It depends on how everybody tackles these things and how prepared they are to battle it out as well.
No, definitely.
Like,
and
it's like to do PR, you fucked up already.
Well, then that's for sure true. And like, the case of Logan is going to actually be a very interesting like case study for years to come, I think, because he's obviously has a very long road ahead of him, and it could go one or two ways. Either he can continue his old shenanigans and people will still continue to like despise him even more, or he can really come full circle and evolve as a character and maybe become like one of the biggest personalities on the planet. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes about it. I know he just said he just pledged donating $1 million to charity, and if he keeps that kind of thing up and it's genuine, a lot of people will start to like him who didn't like him before, So these are also ways these things can work.
One other issue that kind of ties is like the click protecting him, because I remember when that video was released, there's people like, yeah, like he went to like a forest that's like known for suicides. He found like a suicide, like someone who killed himself. videotaped, and that like when you put that video up, it's like all his fans are like, "Yeah, you fucking did it again every time, 10 out of 10."
Well, I mean, the thing is, his
Where
friends
it's
in
like-
that case are literally 10-year-olds. Like they don't really
Yeah.
know better.
There's
it's
no
like-
conception of right or wrong going on here.
And it's like, yeah, where it's like it's always like where he wasn't cheating, he was just doing dumb shit, and like, but it's like it's the same where it's like the hug box, like you know, they protected him, although in the case it took like people saying like, no, you fucked up, and that's what we need to do with cheating. It's like when there's like the A Link to the Past click that kept downtime death or whatever the fuck, or Crystal who's like runs are very likely cheated because she cheated. Like, oh yeah, it's I guess yeah, bad thing about clicks, but I guess yeah, we can mention Crystal specifically because we're talking about cheating. Where there's a patient where Crystal admitted that her 2DX times, the rhythm game, like only had like photo shots for like proof, and admitted they were fake. And I remember asking on Twitter people, it's like if someone cheated in like a video game competition that isn't a speedrun, like should their speedrun time still be like removed, or would they just scrutinize them heavily? Or would cheating in one aspect like necessarily overlap with speedrunning records as well? And it was about like 2/3 were like, yeah, they should remove their times until they regain credibility, because it's like it's not credibility for each individual game; it's your credibility as a person, and like they've lost their credibility, so they need to regain it as like on a whole level. Like I can understand both sides.
That is an interesting topic, because that's kind of like, well, how far do you take it? Is it just related to games? Like, what if someone who was caught doping in sports then took up speedrunning? Or do you take it even another level, like about like cheating on your spouse? And does that make you unreliable? So now you can't be trusted in speedrunning. So it's like, it is hard to sort of take these things across different fields.
Yeah, so it's like obviously it's like you're going to scrutinize it more, but it's like it's not a topic that really comes up because people don't like to talk about cheating and stuff, even though it's like it's better to talk about it before shit happens than after, I think. So, you know, you want to have the discussion now rather than later.
I think conversation should always still be had, even if cheating is discovered. Like,
oh yeah,
conversation
if you want to talk about anything, go to Laz's chat and bring it up. I'll just say that I remember when Dark Eye was at my house, and he had never heard of Laser Long, or like he didn't like never seen a stream, so I just opened it up, and the very first thing Laser Long said was anal prolapse, and Dark is like, I don't think this stream's for me. Okay.
Yeah, rosebudding is
because Laser Long's chat sometimes they'll just be like they'll just bring up topics and be like, I bet he won't talk about this, and he's like, I will. It needs to be done. We need to have this conversation.
Listen, I'm always of the mindset to have discussion, whether it's of a sexual orientation or like speedrunning related topic. Like, I think it's super important to always have discussion and to grow a healthy environment where debate and people can have opinions and see things from different perspectives. I'm always about that. What I'm not about is people making paste bends and explaining their situations and saying that this is my cop out. It's in this long, drawn-out story I'm going to tell you about why I did what I did. Here's my excuse and my scapegoat. You either accept it or you don't. I'm going to move on to my life. And at that point, there's no discussion. It's just the runner got exposed. He then tries to do some really pseudo-shitty PR and then goes ghost for a while. Then you have people talking on threads on Twitter, or maybe the occasional thread, whether it's 4chan or Reddit, and there's nothing. There's nothing of substance. It's just people arguing autistically, and there's nothing being held. Like it's the same show that's happened with every runner and every event. There's never really an actual discussion. It's always just shit slinging, nothing being achieved.
Yeah.
So yeah, credit where it's due. Lee and Goron guy, I think he's the one who cheated Majora's Mask run, but it's like when they were when they were proven, it's like, oh yeah, this run was full of shit. They're just like, all right, you got me, and it's like
it is true.
That's the first step if you want to reclaim your like credibility. You need to just own up to it and then try to like better yourself. Because if you pull the fucking go ahead.
No, like that much is 100% true. You gotta own up and try to better yourself. Absolutely. the thing is, I think Lee kind of only went halfway because he didn't like fully acknowledge that like all of his runs that were suspected to be fake were fake. He's only like, oh, it's only 2 of them. Like MT got 1 right.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, it was kind of half baked. Maybe he just doesn't care to go that route. He doesn't really care to hang out in speedrunning anymore, and that's fine as well. But dude, I can't stand paste spins. It blows me. It's just
I can't either.
It's the laziest goddamn way of writing. Like a forum, like the STA forums or the elite forums are a readable, consistent place to look. I like using medium.com. It's a good place. But like paste spin is just, make a video. That's fine. Like one of my crusades this year is going to be to try to just shame. Maybe I'll just make a video exposing paste spin entirely, and it's got to happen. These people have to stop using paste spin.
It comes back down to what I was saying. It's how you kind of tackle the situation, right? Paste spin is the easy way out. You just get to write some crap down and hope people believe you.
Yeah, you don't even need an account. You just paste shit. It's so like you're so lazy you can't even log in and make it like look nice and like presentable. It just blows my mind.
Yeah, yet again, I stand by the fact that paste spins are a really, really, really horrible way to approach any situation. They're nice if you want to dump a lot of expositionary dialogue to a topic, but it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't start a topic, it's just, you're dumping information. That's all you're doing.
It's not even a good place to like write stuff because you can't read it back. It's all in like the same small font, not well spaced out. So you go to medium.com, you can at least like space things out, have subtitles, have sections, little chapters. It's a much more readable format. Paste spin's literally a text wall. It's like, again, but
it was designed for programming. It wasn't designed as a diary.
That's where I hosted the Stream Bigger. It's a very good place to host words, WordPress.com.
Of course, yeah. People like often will have a WordPress site. That's more than fine as well. Even Tumblr is fine. Just find a place where you can actually format your stuff.
And I guess on the effort of like put an effort into it, I'm going to post a recommendation. This is the Mirror's Edge category extension, and it's like a lot of people when they make categories, they just make shitty meme categories, but it's like they put in the effort. They're like, if you're gonna make shit categories, you go all out. And I gotta say, they have some quality things. No minor glitches. I fucking love that.
You know what? I wouldn't. Here's something. This might be devil's advocate. I wouldn't mind cheating in speedrunning if you put the actual effort into making your cheat fun to look at or fun to watch. And if you are self-aware to say, okay, this is a cheat, 100%. This is cheating. I'm just coming out straightforward and saying I am cheating in this run, but I'm cheating for a very specific reason. And you're doing it for fun. Like right now, looking at this.
Well, that's basically like a tool-assisted run, like for entertainment purposes. They have those.
Well, and yeah, you should see this run. I do show it a bit in my video about Lee's fakes. I can maybe link it. Whatever. I'll get to you guys. There's this guy Trent Huvis from the Elite. He literally filmed himself with a GoPro. He spliced a run. He had a fake run, put it on a CRT, and then filmed him acting as if he's playing with the console on screen on his GoPro. So it's a completely fake strategy. But people believed it for a day until he revealed it was fake because it just made it look so much more credible. So it's a case of him putting effort into the fake. He didn't put on the rankings, so it wasn't banned because, that's the only way you're going to get banned if you fake a run on the rankings. He made a fun fake video. Was it fun? Was it all well-intended? Maybe, maybe not. But it was a thing we're still talking about today for a good reason. He put effort into it, and it's very much what you're saying.
Yeah, just a little effort goes a long way, and I think if you want to cheat, and let's pretend for a second that we don't give a shit about world records because this is a hobby, for just 1 second, it's fine. It's totally cool to use cheats. It's cool to use scripts, and obviously those are categorized to know that hey, you're scripting, which is fine. Totally do it. Like if I play a game and I put cheats that are within the game, and I speedrun it, just for the sake of having fun and then getting the best category in that cheat, Yeah, totally. That is absolutely fine. But we can't confuse it with an 80% category because then you have a shitstorm of
Actually,
people.
that brings up the Judge Dredd. They have like all their categories are in all caps, and they have one lawbreaker. I'm just going to read this here. All cheats must be enabled at the start of each level. If you move or shoot before enabling them, you must restart the level. So it's like they have a bunch of shitty meme categories. Well, half of them don't even have runs, but it's like, if you're gonna have shit, you got put some effort in.
I mean, it brings up like I'm reminded of a few months ago. I think it was Nike or one of these sporting companies had a tournament, like kind of a showcase to try to run a marathon, 26.2 miles in under 2 hours, and it had like 3 of the world class runners doing it on like a Formula One racetrack, and it wasn't sanctioned by the IAAF, so it wasn't gonna be a legit record. It was in a way cheating, but they were still trying to like do something fun and trying to break a sick barrier, even though it wouldn't count, right? So doing stuff that way as a showcase, as a fun experimentation, like that's obviously cool, right? But obviously trying to get away with it and get ranked and all that kind of stuff is a different story.
Mm-hmm.
So, Laz, the Deadbolt thing, that's your recommendation. What is it? Give me the beats.
I'll try to summarize and try to explain real quickly how this relates to cheating. So leaderboards for speedrun.com, they're pretty notorious. You have people who submit leaderboards without actually running the game prior. It's a pretty awful phenomenon, especially with indie games that come out on PC or any game
Cuphead had the mod asking someone to buy the game.
Yeah, you have people submit leaderboards, and you can do this. Anyone can do it. I don't know if they've changed anything about leaderboard submissions, but anyone can submit a leaderboard to any game, and the admins will just say, okay, well, here you go, here's the game. You're in complete control of this game, and if anyone who legitimately speedruns has no control. So to give a quick context, this was an indie game on PC, pretty nice. It's nothing crazy to talk about. I picked it up, started running it, did a very basic run, very trash time. Didn't really matter at the time, but I had routed it and I wanted to submit it to leaderboard. When I came across leaderboard, it was already created by some random, I don't know who it was. I think he went by the name of Grim Reaper or something. The point is, he submitted a run afterwards, after I had submitted my run. My run didn't get verified anytime soon. He then verified his run, and the difference between my run and his is I did an any percent category. He did something that's in the game called a quote-unquote wrong warp. Now, the thing about this is it's not technically a wrong warp, and to explain it would be a little bit convoluted, but I'll try my best. In this game, there's a new game plus, and it is a mission select. Well, what he did is he started a file, and then he backed out of the file and then edited it to look like he was doing a new game, but he was doing new game plus. He then went all the way to the end, selected the final mission, and he made it look like a wrong warp with his editing, and then claimed it as the 80% world record run. And you're like, wait, what the fuck? Because you actually play the game, you realize this is a mission select game where you can, if you've already played the game, you can select all the way to the end. And he didn't respond to me. I called him out on his BS and I said, hey, just so you know, this isn't correct. I complained, talked to the admins about it. I was being a little elitist because at the time I don't like anyone who submits leaderboards, especially if you have no credibility. And I think the most important thing is you actually need to speedrun said game leaderboard if you're going to be an admin on said leaderboard. It's really fucking ridiculous if you think you should run a leaderboard if you're just a speed enthusiast. I think that's the most retarded
even if it's
line.
like, even if you're not a speed enthusiast, at least like don't make categorical errors when you're making a category.
Well, yeah, there's so many leaderboards. Probably for another podcast if we ever talk about Speedrun.com. But I could talk about leaderboards that have categories that make no fucking sense, and I don't know. It triggers me to actually want to talk about it because people are very, very deceptive on Speedrun.com. There's a lot of games that suffer through it, but with Deadbolt, and to sum it all up, he got exposed. He deleted his account both on Twitch, Twitter, and his Speedrun.com. He went dark, and he was exposed 100%. I got control of the leaderboard, and the community thrived. We actually have runners picked it up. They did the proper categories. We routed it. We actually have good, decent categories that people run. And it makes a huge difference when you expose these fucking shitters who think that they can be clever and submit a category that isn't what it is. So.
No, and sometimes all it takes is someone to shine the light on and the cockroaches scurry away, for sure. I agree, Speedrun.com. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I just want to say that's why I appreciate your content, your channel. Thank you.
Well, no, thank you very much. I mean, like, I just feel like, after all this time, it's like you kind of have to understand, like, what are you still doing in this community? Why am I still shitting around the speedrunning community, right? So if I can at least impart this sort of quality and at least motivate people to get shit together, I think that's at least going to be worthwhile. Now, what I want to say about Speedrun.com is I agree 100%. It's so close to being like perfect, but its biggest problem is that anyone can come. It's first come, first serve. And I could go snipe all the AAA releases for next year, 2019, and just make myself the admin of all these games, right? And 100%. And I have talked to Pac about it. I think, I'm not going to put words in his mouth, but I think the official understanding is that it's not that big of a problem to take overarching rules yet. It's kind of a case-by-case thing, which is okay for now, but it is a problem, and it is something people have to keep in mind, because you don't want the leaderboards being held hostage by some rogue soy boy who just snipes the game and knows nothing about it.
I can't.
I think actually, yeah, there's one person. I think Doom on the PlayStation where they actually made a mod. Like they complained to the admins and they made it so he was mod. And then he made a post in the forum. He's like, "Yeah, now you got to fucking deal with me." And then it was like, and then the mods were like, "Oh, well, this guy's obviously an idiot." So they took it away from him. But the game Journey. I just want to quickly say that it's like I did, like, when it first came out, I did a run and then like submitted to speedrun.com and they're like, all right, and then it's like people actually like found tricks and I kind of stopped playing, so I just made all of them super mods and they made it all nice. So it's like even if you're fucking a shit mod, you can still do good by giving it to the right people.
Yeah, exactly. I would like to keep talking about this, but we're about like 2 or maybe a minute half in. This is Goose's, I think, last intermission, real quick. Guess I'll ask Goose some quick questions real fast then.
Go for
it. From Unruly Citizen, Goose, this is directed, both questions are directed towards you. The first one is, would you ironically cheat to prove a point similar to what he did in the past? And I'm assuming he's talking about Exo?
No, he probably is talking about me, and yeah, I mean, we might not have enough time. We might jump back in here in a bit, but
okay.
It's like, okay, when I spliced runs in 07, there were really 3 reasons I did it. One was I was obviously feeling pressure from other people passing on the rankings. One was that I genuinely was trying to get banned forever because I was lamenting the fact of, having social failures and not being where I wanted in life, we'll say, when I was 18 years old. And I blamed it all on speedrunning. So I was hoping to do something that would actually get me banned. The third reason is, and because I obviously still have a lot of passion for the game, I saw all this kind of bullshit going on, people not caring, people not taking it seriously, people accepting, people taking a year to post videos, that I want to prove a point. And it's true. And so those are the 3 reasons, undeniably, that I did what I did. Would I do it again? It's possible, but I wouldn't do it in a way that would get me banned or affect the rankings. I may do it as like an example. And actually, you know what? Let's take the intermission. I'll come back and maybe give an example.
Yeah. All right. So go ahead.
You have questions for Goose?
Yeah.
It's truly remarkable. No, so the question before the break was, would I ever cheat a run ironically to prove a point? And okay, so for example, Apollo Legend did this in his second most recent video about 10 cheaters in speedrunning. He faked a run and got it on the rankings to show how easy it was. A lot of people in the Ocarina of Time moderation team especially were really upset about that, and with good reason, because he's kind of the 4 million people who saw the video, maybe 1 or 2 or more are going to try it, right? So that gives them some trouble. But I think sometimes you have to take these drastic actions to prove a point. I don't necessarily think that the point Apollo was proving had to. I mean, you know what? Maybe it did. Like, people think it's so easy, so hard, or whatever, so dumb to fake a run. But him showing that it was possible and feasible, I think, was a reasonable thing to do. One thing, for example, I might have in mind, I kind of proved it in the Super Meat Boy video I did. It's just showing how easy it is to fake a run with like a webcammed crappy quality footage, and why it's easier. People think it's harder to fake a run that way. It's actually easier to get away with a fake run that way. So I might at some point do that same kind of thing again, fake like a Super Mario 64 139 on a webcam where you can barely see anything. I think that would serve a purpose. So yeah, the answer in short is possibly yeah.
Awesome. Okay. And then the next question, gone. Let me see. Just had it. Okay, so this one's I guess more of a personal question. Has nothing really to do with speedrunning. But why do you have Christmas lights always in the background of your webcam, Goose?
Yeah. So years ago, before I started streaming, I love Christmas. I have Christmas lights set up in my house. I love them, and I had a string in my room. And I realized, like, hey, that's actually a pretty good amount of lighting. It's not too much. If you're just chilling on the computer, it's not too dark. It's still light enough to see sometimes. So that's a really good amount of lighting. And okay, some people might say, well, yeah, you can just have smaller lights. You can just do something. It doesn't have to be Christmas lights. You can just have low lighting anyways. And it's like, sure, but I have these Christmas lights. I'm going to use them. And then when I started streaming, I just put them in the background, and I just thought it looked cool. And it's just become my thing. So I can't stop now. And I just moved into this room, and now I was in another room for the past, I guess, 4 years. I just moved into this room. I actually bought a piece of plywood, which is expensive, like 30, 40 bucks, to sit in the back desk there, staple the lights in a nice order to them, and I actually bought like a blue bulb and an orange bulb on both sides of me. So I really like the lighting in this room. It's got a good vibe. And lighting is important in a room you're going to hang out a lot in, for sure.
Kind of like the halfway point to Feasel, back when he
I mean, that was
fantasy
yeah,
runs.
yeah.
You have the extreme contrast.
Hopefully, if you ever participate and do a run at NASA, you will have the same. They could do the same setup to have Christmas lights in the back during your run.
Oh, dude, I will totally set that up.
That would be great.
It'll be like a Thomas Alone Redux.
Thomas was alone,
dim
yeah.
all the lights. We just have Christmas lights on in the back.
That run was
down.
so fucking comfy.
Has NASA been announced for this year?
Yep.
Yeah.
Where
July
and
or
when?
June.
It's happening
like
in St.
Niagara Falls,
Catharines.
basically.
Oh, it's in St. Catharines, eh?
It's in
Just
Ontario.
south of Toronto.
I mean, like last year's was a lot closer. I was kind of out of the picture then. I mean, I would maybe consider going down for a day and doing a run.
June 4th to June 10th.
Yeah, it's a nice time of year to get down by the falls. I'll think about it for sure.
I think it would be an absolute blast if you came, but of course, no pressure.
You got another question, Liz?
I mean, questions besides I asked. Let me see. I guess Air Nathan's general question is, I mean, this is going to be pretty obvious, but he asks, what runs does everyone here run? Well, he already knows that Goose runs GoldenEye, so he's asking me, you, and Dark Ares, Nickleria.
For me lately, it's been Point Blank, the light gun games on the PlayStation 1. That's pretty much the only game I've been running recently. Actually, a bit of F-Zero GX.
I guess his question in general is just like, in general, what do you run, or what are you well known for? But if recently works too.
For me, it's the SGU 2013 Sonic run. People keep talking to me about it. So I guess I'm glad they liked it.
Okay. And then Dark Ares. I know you're not the most prolific speedrunner, but
yeah, I know. Well, I'm mainly known in the puzzle communities. I do speedrun Tetrises, mainly Magical Tetris Challenge is my jam. But really most puzzle games. If anybody remembers last NASA, I did a race of Magical Tetris Challenge with FFR Pro, and I was considered the Bob Ross of Tetris. People still call me the Bob Ross of Tetris, so
it's a good name.
I also like to speedrun Marathon Tech. We'll see how little delays we can have between each run. So yeah, that's what I do.
It's a good thing to run. Not every marathon does that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this GDQ actually had a lot of tech issues very, very early on, very frequently, which was very displeasing. I guess really I'll summarize. I speedrun a lot of games. There's no particular game besides maybe Barkley Shut Up and Jam. It was a 2014 GDQ, but that's really the only run I'm known for. I do a lot of games. Doesn't matter the era. Doesn't matter the console. Just a lot of games. You can I could cover them, but I'd rather not. It'd take too long. So you can just look on speedrun.com.
On the issue of the speedrunning marathons, I remember I made the spreadsheet of like what percentage of the marathons were uptime of like speedruns by just taking the total marathon count and then dividing by the like some of the speedrun times tallied up. And NASA 2017 was actually pretty fucking good. It was better than most every GDQ but one, I think.
Nice. All right, so really real quick, Unruly just posted a question in chat for Goose. It says, has Goose ever personally detected a run that was cheated and exposed the cheater?
Yeah, so that's exactly what happened with the Henning Blom situation. I have 2 videos about it, albeit they're both long. The Frigate Secret Agent Speedlord, it's the first Speedlord episode, and the video, it's a fireside chat about cheating and fake runs in the Elite history. Both of them talk about it, but basically, at the end of a GoldenEye level, if you complete the mission, generally speaking, the weapon Bond is holding in the cutscene to finish the level is the same one you've finished the level with. And in Henning's Frigate runs, he was holding a different weapon. I've been away from the Elite for about 1.5 years. I kind of put the game behind me when it was a generate for a couple of years, got a girlfriend, got all this kind of stuff. I came back 1.5 years later, right at the start of Twitch. I watched runs I had missed for the past 1.5 years, and that was, I saw it right off the bat, and I was like, oh my god, guys, this is fake as hell. And again, people didn't want to believe it. People were in denial. It was irrefutably fake, and it started a 6-month or longer, shitstorm on the forums. What are we going to do about him? Which of his runs are fake? He revealed a few at first. Then we imposed a zero tolerance policy. If you get caught with a fake, you're banned permanently. We had a little grace period. Anyone can come forward in this 2-month span in early 2013, reveal their fakes, and be forgiven. No one did. And then after that point, Henning was found with even more fakes, again denied it, irrefutable, and he was banned permanently from the GoldenEye rankings. And that's how that story all shook out, and that really shaped the Elite community forever. And yeah, it was just absolutely wild stuff. Check out those videos if you want to take a look, for sure.
Yeah, we'll definitely we're gonna post Goose's YouTube channel for sure. That's a channel definitely worth checking out if you're looking for a lot of information regarding runners that he has exposed or regarding to his own runs. So
yeah, the two best YouTube channels for like speedrun content. If like usually for speedrunners you want to watch their like Twitch streams or whatever, but on YouTube you want to get Goose and WQ. They got the best videos on speedrunning. Goose will tell you about Goose. Okay, yeah, Goose will tell you about like the history, the speed lore, give you nice comfy things, and then WQ, he gets you the theory, he gets you the natural gameplay, macro natural gameplay about how to liquefy your gameplay and improve your being, and it's a lot more conceptual, and that's the high quality content you really need.
I was gonna say WQ, man. Like we have, speaking of these speed cliques and whatnot, they're not all bad. We have a little Discord. It's like me, Apollo Legend, Easy Escape, Glad Jonas, Retro Gamer, and we talk about our YouTube vids, that kind of stuff. And we're all trying to grow our channels, obviously. But we need WQ to take off, man. He's got to get at least to 1,000 subs and beyond. Definitely subscribe to WQ. It's those thumbnails and titles are unbelievable for sure. So give that a look.
Speaking of WQ, he has a question real quick he mentioned earlier. The question is, why is only one of Crystal's TASes on the leaderboard?
I haven't looked.
Ask the link to the past click, dude.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I haven't looked too deeply into that yet. I've followed Crystal kind of as a persona for 5 years. Like since I got involved in Twitch and whatnot, I've noticed some suspicion there. Again, I would get massively downvoted on our speedrun for saying, hey, something's fishy here with Crystal. Never streams. No one's ever seen a picture of her, heard her voice, seen a video of her. She only streams once every half year, always gets the world record. It's always on emulator. She always asks, hey, can you guys tell me random inputs to put in so I can prove it's not fake? It's like something's fishy here, guys. And of course, massively downvoted. People ostracized me for years for that, and it's starting to come out now that I'm vindicated. I'm correct. I am planning a video about Crystal some point, hopefully maybe in March. I have a lot of other videos to get to, but I'm going to do a lot of chatting with WQ and a lot of other people. I mean, look, I've had people who have done runs at early GDQs, early partnered streamers, people of great status in the speedrunning community, come to me and say, "Hey Goose, I really hope you do a video about Crystal. I have information. My only deal is do not mention me by name because she's so vindictive and she has kept chat logs of every speedrunner streamer's channel for years. This is true.
Yeah.
That I'm worried she's going to do something to me." And like like it's pretty messed up. Like, who is this person we're dealing with, Crystal? So she has to go down, and I think WQ and I can do it.
What was the name of the bot that she used to just lurk in everyone's chat to log chats?
I think it was just Crystal.
Yeah, it was just Crystal. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. She was in every
I guess,
single chat.
Number one takeaway, I say,
prevalent back then.
I think the number one takeaway is, like, if someone questions the legitimacy of a run that you did or one of your friends, that's not an insult. That's just them, like, they just want to know more about what's going on.
It's healthy.
Yeah, it's good.
Like, there's this one guy on the elite.
That is not a bad thing.
This guy Luke Pettit, he has frigate records. We find it so suspicious, and that's healthy. For 3 years, we found his run suspicious, but we can't find them being fake, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing because we look really hard, and as far as we know now, they're not fake, right? And that's what you want in the community, having this healthy sort of suspicion.
All right. I don't think I have any other questions at the moment, or at least not.
Darky, I think you had one?
I do have a question, actually, for Goose. As a fellow Canadian speedrunner, what do you think of the now growing Canadian speedrunning scene?
I'm not going to lie, I don't pay much attention to it. Unfortunately, I know it's kind of the typical Canadian answer whenever a Canadian kind of gets fame and exposure in a scene. They kind of forget their roots a bit. It's true.
It is, actually.
Look, I would love to see a fellow Canadian speedrun YouTube content creator like me who I could maybe meet up with and collab with and kind of do that kind of stuff. Most of the guys that are in America do that right now. So that'd be cool to see. And the thing with speedrunning is, even though there's a lot of Canadians or whatever, it's still done in kind of such isolation, right? So it's not like we're all going to hang out and play Mario Party one day, which is unfortunate because it'd be really cool. But yeah,
I think that's just the nature of, like, the population density of Canada more so than the culture.
Exactly, it would be. Sometimes I go and hang out with my pal Imagine Phil, right? He's a well-known Majora's Mask runner. Maybe once every month or two we'll go hang out and have a good time. But yeah, it's tough to find people around who you want to hang out with. But hey, it's cool to have good representation, and I wish everyone the best. That's for sure.
I'll go ahead and post a link to Wouter Goes Bananas, the GoldenEye Wouter M. Jansen, who, like, basically did a run of Donkey Kong 64, like the 101% or whatever the hell it is. It was either like his first or second run, but it's absolutely terrible.
It's like a 15-hour run or something. It's absurd.
Yeah, and this is like a 50-minute highlight reel, and it's just fun to watch because it's really shit.
But yeah, exactly, but hey, he had the ability to record runs. He did, and he put a run out there for people to watch, and realize, hey, this is terrible. I can beat it, and I'm sure someone got involved in speedrunning that way, So
yeah, Dugong. That's like his original shit list of games where he was up like my speedrun records, beat him, and it's like communities have been built based off of beating Dugong's shit list. Like what is it, Dino Wars or whatever? Like like people that built a community of people that just wanted to bring down Dugong. He's a very influential speedrunner. He should deserve a lot more credit.
Absolutely. But there you have it, guys. If that's it for the questions, I got to head out. I'll let you guys wrap up on your own though. But like I say, it was a pleasure talking to you guys, Aries, Lays, and Nagleria. It was really good chats, and I hope we have a lot. We could go forever, so I hope we chat again sometime for sure.
Absolutely. I would
Thanks
enjoy
being on.
for you to come back.
We'll do it whenever you can't find a guest or something. I need somebody. Just give me a
Your
whole.
go-to.
All right, take care, guys, and stay true.
Stay based. Stay based.
Stay true.
No Major Opinions was recorded in front of a live Twitch audience.